Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for Ohio University's online Masters of Business Analytics webinar. My name is Brittany Smith, and I'm one of the enrollment advisors for the online Masters of Business Analytics program. And for today's webinar presentation, we will be discussing the Masters of Business Analytics in great detail, so that way you can determine if the program is a great fit for you. So let's jump right in and get started. So for today's webinar, along with hearing directly from the director of the program and the professor for this webinar, we'll also be discussing Ohio University's background as well as the College of Business, which the program stems from. We'll also talk about the curriculum and learning outcomes, again, to help you determine if the program fits your needs. Now, at the end of the presentation, we will cover the online admissions criteria for those that are interested in applying, so that way you can further understand the process. We'll also have a Q&A session, so please be sure to utilize the Q&A box to type in your questions, and we will cover as many as time permits. If your question is unable to get answered, however, please feel free to reach out to your enrollment advisor for further information. All right, so I'd like to introduce to you all our program director and associate professor of business analytics. He's going to talk about the business analytics program, Dr. Bill Young. Welcome.
Thank you. First and foremost, I just wanted to thank everybody for attending live or watching this recording later. We certainly appreciate you taking some time out of your day. We know you're busy working perhaps today, so we appreciate the time that you spend with us. I'll just give you a brief overview of what my accomplishments and what I'm actually doing here at the university. My background is in engineering, and when I was a mechanical and systems Ph.D. student, I just really got fascinated while working with General Electric Aviation on a cost estimation project that we were working on to predict the cost, the manufacturing cost, estimation times of assembly and inspection and all kinds of other things for these jet engines. I just grew a passion for data analysis, and then throughout my studies at OU, essentially I would take more and more courses and do deeper dives into data analysis. So it really changed because I started out being an electrical engineer and eventually found my pathway, and I'm super excited to be here at the College of Business and helping the college really transition into a new state, which is offering business analytics at our undergrad and grad level. So as far as other things I do, I teach analytics, I research analytics, and even use it for fun too. So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that as well. So that's a little bit about me. And maybe we can have Jill Nice, who's also with us, introduce herself.
Well, hello, everyone. I also would like to thank you for taking the time out of your day to learn more about our program. It's a program that we're really excited about and hope that you can get excited about it as well. I am the Financial and Operations Officer for the College of Business Graduate Programs area, and I also oversee all our student services and student success team. So I'll be working closely with the team to make sure that all of your needs are met while you're in the program in terms of making sure that you know what classes you need to register for, what textbooks you need to buy, where to pay the bill, all that good stuff. So welcome, and I hope to work with you over the next couple of years.
Awesome, great. Thank you both for those brief introductions, and thank you again for joining us today. It's always a pleasure to hear directly from our program directors and associates. So moving back to Dr. Young, he's going to cover with you all the program overview of the Business Analytics program and what's all entailed in our curriculum. Thank you again.
Sure thing. So let me give you an overview. And let me kind of express, why business analytics and who this degree is really for, because I think that's an important factor to kind of stress during the webinar. Well, first and foremost, over the last decade even, we've had an explosion of collecting data. We now have things like Internet of Things where everything is connected. We're generating social media data. We're generating data from CRM, ERP systems that really is just untapped. So there's a lot of hidden information and valuable insight in all this data that we collect. And we're getting to a point where companies need an operational advantage by looking at the data that they have to make better decisions. And to make better decisions, in my opinion, that's all about reducing the risk surrounded by that decision. And of course, we know good decisions can lead to bad outcomes, and bad decisions can lead to good outcomes, but data analysis gives us another perspective to our own intuition and our own subject matter expertise that we can, just augment and change and get another insight on what the real course of action should be. So that's largely why we need it. We need an operational advantage as a business. So there's all types of techniques out there that we need to master. It's all about discovering those hidden insights in the data. We could talk about big data. We could actually talk about small data, which doesn't necessarily get discussed a lot because big data is such a hot topic. But there's several techniques that we need to know. From a predictive standpoint, we need to look at historic data and see what the future is going to look like. We can use predictive tools to look at historic data, maybe it's transactional data, and say, hey, is this customer likely to buy our product or service or not? We can look at other recommendation systems and predictive analytics and say, if this customer buys this and this customer is similar to this, what is the next likely thing that I can upsell or cross-sell, this customer to purchase? Excuse me. So there's a lot of capabilities. So that's just one pillar of analytics that we focus on. There's another pillar of analytics that we focus on, which is prescriptive analytics. Prescriptive analytics is all about knowing your business, developing usually fairly simple models around your business, and optimizing resources. So you could think of a manufacturing problem. I have this much raw materials. I have these many components. I have this many man hours on machines, and I have demand to fulfill. How many of each certain product do I need to make to maximize my profit or to reduce my cost? I have 8 different warehouses and 50 different distribution centers, and how do I route packages from each one of these in the most cost-effective and safest, perhaps, way? You could look at financial optimization and say, what should my portfolio look like to maximize maybe profit or my return but minimize risk at the same time? So two competing, goals there. And, the third pillar is where we start the program, which would be descriptive analytics. What does simply the data look like? What is it trying to tell us? That form of analytics, we need a lot of intuition about our business and things like that. And, if I had to say that there's a fourth pillar, it's about managing data. So again, we'll need to know how to prepare data, how to cleanse data, how to get data ready for model generation or knowledge discovery. And that takes a knowledge of SQL and databases. And as we go further down along that conversation, data is not always nice and neat. So you have structured data, you have unstructured data, for example, Twitter, Facebook, text analytics. It's all unstructured, so we need to learn techniques to structure that data. So all in all, we want data-driven decision-making at the company level. And at this time, I always tell my undergraduate students that they are at such a an important point in this sort of analytics journey, because the demand of analytics is so high, but the supply of analytics qualified professionals is so low that if they really have an interest in analytics, they can really help their organization, their current organization, their new organization, just like you all. And you really can become a leader, within your organization with your analytics knowledge. So it's really an important and an exciting time. And if I had to draw other inspiration from my undergraduate students, which, we've had a program for the last 4 years in our undergraduate business analytics major, our job placement rates are near 100%, not 9 months after graduation, but before graduation. So the demand and the need, the necessity for these skills is really at an all-time high.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Young, for that very detailed business analytics program overview. I hope that everyone listening in gained some insight from that information. Now we're going to jump into more about the College of Business, more specifically as far as the excellence that our program holds. And if you could please, Dr. Young or Jill, cover just a little bit about Ohio University, more specifically on the College of Business itself. Thank you.
Sure thing. So the College of Business, something near and dear to all of our hearts. As a Bobcat, there's something that must be in the water or in the air here, because once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat, and there's always just a certain passion, that we feel for our programs and we feel for our students and just the area in general. So first and foremost, there is a lot of synergy here at the college, which is just a tremendous amount of support to launch new programs like this, to put people and teams in power to try to achieve the best possible learning environment for our students. It's just unreal. So that's one thing I like them to always mention. And I'd also like to mention that, an important part of our sort of brand is the faculty, the staff, and the students that we have. It's special. So I always hear from people that are book reps, that are client-facing with other professors at other universities, and they say, OU is just such a different place. I come to here, I come on campus, I meet with a professor, there's literally doors are wide open, students are in the offices talking to their faculty, students are in the hall waiting on benches to talk to their faculty, where most other places, it's a closed-door environment. Hey, good luck on your homework. We'll see you next week. Type of situation. And we're not like that. We're a teaching-first institution, but we do put also a lot of emphasis on keeping up with state-of-the-art technologies, and we do have a demand for research from a faculty perspective. So it's I always have to mention that, because I always hear it. And I always hear from students who aren't former Bobcats what it actually means to be a Bobcat, and how much pride they have, and how our faculty and staff alike get back to our students as quickly as possible. And they're just shocked that sometimes within 4 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours, whatever, that we're emailing them back and answering their questions that you need answered. So anyway, our faculty, our staff are important. When we're talking about our courses, our curriculum, I could say we're definitely committed to quality. One thing that's a differentiating factor amongst any grad program is that we have our terminal degree holding faculty developing and teaching our courses. So when you take a class, you're not taking a class that's been maybe developed by a Ph.D. and then given that class to a grad student who's overseeing the course, and you're discussing topics and asking questions to the instructor's assistant or something like that. No, you're talking directly to that terminal degree holding faculty. And I would even stress in some of our latest data, it's more than 80% of our faculty who teach in our grad programs have the terminal degree. And actually in the analytics program, I can't think of any at the moment. So, we take a lot of pride in offering our students direct contact to the subject matter expert. And I will say if they're not, they're the practitioners in industry. And I actually can't think of one person in mind, Andy Goodnight. He's a retired Air Force captain, and he works with us here at the university, and he's retired now, but just had such a passion for analytics. They want to come back and teach, and he has a lot of experience as a meteorologist, actually, in the Air Force, and he has a lot of experience with data analysis. And once you have those skills, analyzing whatever, it's almost like a universal set of skills that it doesn't matter what data you're analyzing, you can do it. You can do it for any field. So our faculty are special. They are teaching-focused faculty who want you to learn and will do everything they can, even down to having private conversations with you online or whatever it might be. And we've been recognized for that talent and that commitment to excellence. Every year about this time, we're always interested in the new reports. So we're always rated as U.S. News and World Report Best Quality and Best Value, which is important because, we'll talk about the credentials that we have at Ohio University, namely AACSB accreditation. And we have that for both our undergrad and grad programs. And that's something that not a lot of programs in the world have. I think less than 15%, if I'm not mistaken, have that rating. So it's always something special. So at the cost point, at the price point, around $35,000, you're getting a AACSB accredited school that less than 15% of the business schools in the world have. In terms of value, we're also recognized by Fortune. U.S. News and World Report says, best online program. Recently, our undergraduate program was actually ranked, which I think there's always similarities between the quality. You're dealing with the same faculty, right? So undergraduate program was ranked 15th best public institution by Bloomberg. And when you actually combine public and private, we were ranked 38th. So that's tremendous because of the hundreds, the thousands of schools that were in that consideration. When it comes to poets and quants, that's a major outlet now about where students get their information from. And the reason I want to talk about the MBA rating, because there's a lot of parallels between our OMBA program, our online MBA program, and the online MBA in the analytics program. So we were ranked 15th in 2008 by Poets and Quants as one of the best online MBA programs in the world. So like I said, there's parallels. We have an MBA program with analytics. If you want a shallow dive and a deeper dive across general business practices, the online MBA with analytics is probably right for you. If you want a deeper dive and strictly analytics and strategy, then you're going to want to take the online MBA in program with us. And what we're doing is leveraging the courses that we have in the MBA in. And those have been well received by students, and we're adding on to that the deeper dive into the newer courses that we're going to offer. So I'd like to talk a little bit about software because, I didn't initially really promote this as much, but, when I'm hearing from students and we're interfacing with our staff about, getting questions from our students, a lot of questions were centered around what kind of software capabilities that we're going to feature in our program. And I want to talk about this because I think there's some strategy that you all need to know about sort of the curriculum. And this is a handful of courses that we have. And essentially, I'm involved with the first sort of row of those classes. And I'm also involved lightly, more of a directing role with the other courses. But anyway, what we do is we actually start you out with a course called 6320. And that's the course I teach every semester. And that course has been really successful in a few different ways. One way that it's been successful, and the reason why I'm bringing it up now, is because inevitably I'm going to get the question, well, if I'm, and dare I use the word math-phobic, if I've never really had a degree in something related to analytics, and I've never maybe tasted some of that success, or maybe I struggled with that stats class way back when, is this program right for me? And I say, absolutely. And then I get another question. Well, I'm an engineering student. I've had quite a few quantitative courses. Is this program for me, or should I seek a data science course or a program? And I say, no, you should seek this one too. And, it's not because I want to draw everybody into the program. I want to draw you in because I think it's the right program for you. So what we do in the program is to onboard all students, saying, okay, you may know this, you may not, but we're going to build your confidence and build your set of skills through a friendly environment of Excel. And Excel is such a useful and popular tool that you can really master what Excel can do for us until you get to the point where we really can't work in an Excel environment. And when I say really know Excel, I mean, I'm so passionate about Excel, it's unreal. I could probably name 50 different shortcuts on the keyboard that I use daily. But anyway, excuse me. When I talk about knowing Excel, you're going to know Excel. When I talk to people all the time, they know Excel, they don't know Excel. You will. And it's quite powerful because it sets up your success for all other courses that you see here. So even if you're running, some sort of bigger data set or maybe doing some pre-processing of your data for R or Python, that usually involves some sort of Excel because it's nice, it's visual, it's a familiar environment. So my main point here, and I'll continue, but my main point in here is that we're going to start you off with a friendly environment that's going to build your confidence and interest in analytics. Then we're going to move into other more sophisticated software that is demanded by industry today. So R is a great tool. R is free. R is community driven, much like Python as well. But it's great because organizations are wanting to use and leverage the capabilities of R and Python in particular. So we have whole courses dedicated to those technologies. So for example, if I was looking at Predictive Analytics 1 in the first block of courses, we do stay in an Excel environment, build your skills there, and leverage an add-in based on frontline systems, frontline solvers that actually create add-ins for Excel. And then we'll do all the modeling. We'll do all the pre-processing, post-processing. I could rattle off the names of the algorithms we use, but we go through the gamut. Linear regression, logistic regression, discriminant analysis, neural networks, classification and regression trees and clustering and all kinds of other stuff. And then when we get to the Predictive 2 course, we're saying, okay, let's revisit some of these things we had in Predictive 1, but let's try to integrate a new software technology and explore those same methods and additional ones in the R class. And then, of course, programming for analytics. You got to have an understanding, and you really should have an ability to automate things and to develop things and create things. And there's always a boundary between, how much creation that a business analytics major would do versus a data scientist. The main difference there is that data scientists are more about creating new methodologies, and business analytics analysts, if you will, are all about applying existing methodologies. Now, it's not to say the business analytics major won't create new ways of analyzing data, because all data is somewhat unique, and the situations that we have are unique, and the business domain is unique. But when I talk about new method creation, I'm talking about very sophisticated, maybe pre- or post-processing technologies that are very specific to some applications. So if you're about the application, you want to be a business analytics person, and having an application focus is actually very cool and very rewarding because you can really impact the bottom line of your organization. And so I'll wrap up here by saying, in terms of the software used, by saying the course goes all the way to big data. And that's what the last two courses are about. So this is where we're beyond the capabilities of Excel. maybe we have 1 million records, which Excel can only have, I think, 1 million rows, but surely can't process that data even if you could open the file with 1 million rows filled with Excel. But you need to move on to bigger and better things, and that's getting an understanding of how SQL works and how to use the software surrounded from that query language.
Thank you again, Dr. Young, for that insightful information. So now let's cover a key part of our program, one that makes it stand out from the rest. It is a big part of our online Masters of Business Suite programs. This Leadership Development Workshop weekend, which I'll have our Associate Director of Operations and Graduate Programs, Jill Nice, tell us a little bit about this wonderful opportunity that we have for our students in this program. Jill?
Absolutely. It's my pleasure to always get the opportunity to talk to our students and our potential students about this program. We really do feel like the Leadership Development Program that we've developed is probably one of the most valuable aspects of the program, and it really sets our program apart from other online programs. We know that maybe online students at first glance don't want to think about having to come to campus and meet with people in person and be here. That's not really what an online program is about. But with our program, we just really have felt and have found in the past with students coming here that it really helps students feel connected to our campus and connected with each other and connected with the faculty. And we just think that's a really important thing that we're going to do across all of our online graduate business programs. Excuse me. We do hold 2 every year, so one is held every April and every August. You would only be required to come to one of those workshops. However, your tuition does cover up to 3, and that includes your housing and most meals. So for the most part, you just have to get yourself here to campus in beautiful Athens, Ohio, and we'll take care of the rest and make sure that you're well taken care of while you're here. But again, you do have the opportunity to network with other students that you've been working with in class and have gotten to know online. So it's really cool to see people put faces to names, and really they're excited when they get here and get to see folks that they know. But we do partner with the Walter Center for Strategic Leadership, which is a center here in the College of Business, and they really keep the content fresh for each of these weekends. They bring in top industry speakers that take care of the keynotes for us, and they'll talk about leadership and various other topics that are current in the world at this time. But then you'll also have breakout sessions that will be for first-time attendees or repeat attendees, and then you'll also get to take part in breakout sessions that are applicable to either your concentration or your degree program. So because you would be in that business analytics program, you would be in concentration breakout sessions with our online MBA students who are taking the business analytics courses. So just another cool opportunity to network with people who have the same interests that you do.
And I will say, I just want to add on to that I've been a program director in that online MBA program and now the program director of the analytics program, but more specifically the online MBA program for about 6 years. And when I came on board, I'm like, what are you guys doing? Requiring students that want to take an online degree to come to Athens for 2 days. There's a reason why they want to take an online course. And I was such a skeptic of the LDP. And it turns out I was wrong. It turns out, semester after semester, April and August, after those events close, there is such a tremendous amount of feedback positive feedback from our students that they might have also been skeptical, but they came and they really enjoyed themselves and really learned about themselves in terms of their leadership and what they need to do and what they need to sort of look out for and their own organizations to sort of self-empower themselves, that it's been a tremendous success. So I definitely ate crow, but I think it's important to point that out because, we've had such a
Mhm.
success with it that it's great.
Yeah.
I always leave those so energized. But I digress. Let's talk about the Online Masters of Business Analytics curriculum. So this is definitely something I'm excited about. And I talked with my colleagues in our Analytics and Information Systems department and really have created what we think is really the best set of courses that you can really have in a 30 credit hour program. And, as I walk you through, I'm going to relate back to the sort of stories and the information that I said earlier. This is in general the sequence of courses that you would take from the very first course, Data Analysis for Decision Making, which is something I want to rename actually to Descriptive Analytics. So we start summarizing data. We start building your confidence, generating summaries, navigating Excel, taking the fullest capabilities of Excel that you could possibly imagine. And then we end that course with a review of the most important probability and statistics concepts that are applicable to analytics. We take a no-nonsense approach. I love statistics. I love solving problems related to probability, but I know there's a limited application of some things that you've had in college. Hypergeometric binomial distributions. Tell me what the business application is for those. It's very limited. Something like a normal probability, very, very useful. So my message here is that we've really taken a look at the curriculum and really eliminated non-value-added topics and reinforced them with extremely, in our opinion, value-added subject and skill-building opportunities. So we do go through the descriptive. We go through the predictive. Predictive adds a tremendous amount of value to an organization. Being able to sort of predict the future and having that time to take a step back and sort of prepare for the future is important. Whether, dare I say, layoffs occur, restructuring of your organization, hiring, reallocation, expansion, all those kind of business decisions are related to knowing what the future is going to look like. And then we go into Predictive 2, which builds your skill set and a tool that's very high in demand. But before we jump into Predictive 2, we try to sprinkle some strategy in there. So there are definitely the courses that are the skill-building technical courses, and then there's the courses that focus on strategy. Because if we're focused on technical skill-building all the time, we're missing out on some important concepts, like the ethical use of data, or strategic use of information systems. How do we acquire, how do we manage these systems to get the data we want? So there's all kind of strategic, if I dare say, strategic strategy, strategic use of type of conversations that we'll have in our strategic use of information and strategic use of analytics courses. Prescriptive is all about optimization, all about dealing with the future, an uncertain future, I might add, trying to make the best possible decision with the knowledge that we have today. Whether it be relying on forecasts of demand, and we're trying to plan demand, or where the market's heading, or anything related to those business environments. We're trying to use optimization tools to say, what course of action should I take right now? What does my portfolio mix look like? How many workers should I reallocate to this sector to get the most out of my organization and fill my demand and use my resources effectively? What's my 30-day planning horizon look like? Do I need to shift workers around? What does my overall work schedule look like? When do I need employees here? When do I don't? When do I not? Just all sorts of interesting problems. Logistically, how do I ship, from A, B, C, and think you're UPS and you're driving around town, and what's the best course of action to take to deliver the packages in the fastest manner of time, reducing miles, reducing your carbon footprint, and while being on the safest road possible. So it's encompassing all of these factors that are important to business. Where data science doesn't look at that. Data science is more about algorithm generation and things like that. We actually have, that's why I think it's exciting. That's why as an engineer, I'm actually excited and more proud to be a part of business analytics because the problems are real. We need real solutions. We need applicable solutions that really matter in today's society. So it's exciting because they're challenging and they're fun and they're rewarding to solve once we do solve them. Then we move on to something like programming for analytics, which I discussed earlier. It's all about automation. Yeah, that's a good one. It's about automating things, automating processes, taking different processes that you might have developed in other courses and putting them together in a less manual fashion, but automating them to where you can explore more and more and change more parameters and look at the sort of effect that those changes have. That's important. Whether that's sort of concrete and well explained, perhaps not, but trust me, it's important. And then we get into sort of the BI courses. Like I said, data is ever expanding. We got more of it every second. We have faster computers, better memory, cheaper memory, better storage, cheaper storage, cloud computing, Internet of Things, natural language processing, text analytics, whatever you want to call it. Those problems are complicated, and we need methods of dealing with that because they can really add value to a business if we grasp that. Yelp reviews, Twitter analysis, sentiment analysis, you see it everywhere. Politics, restaurant reviews, whatever. So it's important. And then we end up with sort of an applied business experience, which I think is really unique. And definitely something I want to add too, so I'll try not to forget. Applied business experience. That course, the 2-hour course, you'll be partnered. So the 1-hour practicum is where you come in, but that 2-hour course at the end, you come into an environment where you're the lead analytics person on the team, and you're working with MBA students that might be from healthcare, might be from our executive management group, might be from accounting, they might be from operations, might be from entrepreneurship, something like that. You're going to have a team that's diverse of skill, but you're the analytics person on that team. And you're going to go through an experience with them as well, of getting their understanding about the problem. You're doing the data analysis and trying to persuade the team to take a course of action based on your decision-making skill set. And I think it's a unique opportunity to just explore what it's like in an organization to be the analytics person, because you're often going to get resistance. Everybody wants to move into analytics, but it's a slow process because people don't necessarily trust algorithms, black box models, neural networks who are leading the way in self-driving cars and Watson and very high sophisticated AI. But managers don't tend to apply what they don't understand. So it's a challenge, and you've got to be able to communicate and present your findings in a way that really makes sense to a broad audience. So that's your challenge, and I think it's a great challenge. The program all in all is 30 credits, 20 months, so 5 semesters. There's 11 courses. Each semester is broken down into the first 7 weeks of a term and then the last 7 weeks of a term. So you'll be taking 2 courses a semester, but only 1 course at a time. And that's very practical for working professionals and just in general, everybody, because you can focus on one thing at a time. So, this set of curriculum that we have, the hour requirements, the techniques, the theory, the turning raw information into actionable insight, is all centered around, developing of added value to what you can provide to your organization or to an organization.
Wonderful. Thank you again, Dr. Young and Jill, for that insightful information. Now that you've had the opportunity to learn more about the program and hopefully determine whether or not our online Masters of Business Administration, Business Analytics program meets your needs, let's learn a little bit about the applicant and the student expectations. So in order to be considered for admissions for the Business Analytics program, it is recommended that all applicants have a conferred and accredited bachelor's degree or higher with at least a 3.0 GPA. And since our program is meant for those in the industry, we also require a minimum of 2 to 5 years of full-time professional work experience. Now, with the work experience, we are looking for career progression and consistency, so it is important that you update your resume and make sure that information is on there. The program does not require GMAT or GRE scores, and we do not accept any transfer credits. If you are uncertain if you meet these requirements, please feel free to reach out to myself or your enrollment advisor for assistance. Now, once you are or have met the requirements of the program and you're ready to complete an online application, you'll need to provide us with a few things. We'll need your transcripts from all previously attended institutions. It is important that if you have transfer credits into your undergrad degree, that you also provide a copy of those transcripts as well. We'll also need an updated resume or cover letter to show that progression in your work experience and consistency. We also require 3 letters of recommendation, with at least one coming from your current supervisor or manager if possible. Now, with the letters of recommendation, it is very important that you choose individuals that can speak highly on your behalf in regards to your overall work ethics and writing skills. And then we also need a personal goal statement explaining your career objectives and interest in the program. So this is going to be your personal essay. This is going to be your piece that's going to kind of tell your story of why you're interested in pursuing this degree, also why Ohio University, anything that sticks out to you as far as your curriculum. This is the key piece for that as well. And then last but not least, the application fee is $50. Now, an important topic when selecting a graduate degree program, of course, is always tuition. So the online business analytics program is financial aid eligible, and the tuition cost per credit hour for Ohio residents is $1,175 and $1,194 for non-Ohio residents. So with that cost per credit hour in mind, the program consists of 30 credits. So your overall estimated total tuition would be $35,250 for in-state residents and $35,820 for non-Ohio residents. And then more information on the tuition cost, if you need a breakdown of that, your enrollment advisor can definitely provide that information for you. Awesome. So we've come to the Q&A session of the webinar. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, please feel free to utilize the Q&A box, and we will try to answer as many questions as time permits. So we have a few questions here. The first question, and I like to direct this question to Dr. Young. The question is, what level of query language experience is required for this program? So I guess coming into the program or as part of the admissions requirements, this presentation person is asking what level of experience is required, if any.
The quick answer is none. So, I think this program is developed really for people that have experience or people that don't. And I'm being honest here that we're going to go at a pace that it's going to be comfortable, to a student that doesn't have the technical capabilities of all these things like SQL and programming skills, scripting skills, all those things. We're going to develop the course and the sequence of courses in a way that's going to build their confidence, that they're going to be able to, at the end of the day, do very sophisticated things. Is it going to require effort? Sure. You're going to need to keep on task and things like that. But I will say these topics are introduced in a way that if you don't have any skills, but you have a desire and passion to learn it, you're going to learn it. You're going to do well.
Thank you. Our next question is, it seems as though the program focuses on soft and or technical skills. How does it still develop leadership skills as well? As if someone is looking for that career development, it does involve leadership in some type of way. So how can this program help develop those leadership skills?
Well, I think one interesting aspect of this program is what Jill discussed earlier with the LDP. And like she said, the tuition actually pays for 3 of those events. And during those events, you're going to learn about your leadership style and how you like to be led and how you can effectively lead others. So that might be through various self sort of exams where you're answering questions about various situations. It might be through discussions with our experts from the Walter Leadership Center, which is something we're very well known for. And it also comes into the strategic courses about talking about real difficult situations surrounding data, security, ethics, and a variety of topics. And communication is also an important part. So you'll actually get a chance to develop your skills through the courses, develop your ability to communicate effectively and work with others. So, for example, the last practicum and the business simulation, you're going to be required to work in teams in that course. Most of the program you won't have to work in teams, but in that particular one you'll work in teams as well, and that's where you really can apply some of those things. So leadership development, the course structure, and the overall capstone experience at the end.
Awesome, thank you. So our next question here, do we accept financial aid for the program? So I'll answer that question. You can apply online for financial aid through FAFSA.gov, and if you are qualified, then you can certainly use that towards the tuition costs of the program. We also accept tuition assistance programs from your employer. We also have payment plans if you're looking to pay out of pocket. And then if you're using your military tuition assistance or your GI Bill, we do have a Veterans Affairs office that we can direct you to for information on that or processing your paperwork. Another question here, was a really good question. Some candidates that come from a math or technical or engineering background would more than likely be looking to pursue a Master's of Science in Business Analytics. This program is not a Master's of Science. What's the difference and why is it not?
I'm sorry, was that question directed to me?
I'm
sorry about that.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Please.
Could you paraphrase quickly? I was actually reading some of the questions on the screen, and I didn't hear the last one. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem, Dr. Young. So, yes, some candidates come from a math or technical or engineering background, and they would more than likely want to pursue a Master's of Science in Business Analytics. So the question is, why isn't the program not a Master's of Science, and basically what's the difference between the two?
Great question. This was actually like 5 minutes ago when I said if I remember to say something, I want to get that point out. This is exactly it. What is the difference between a Master's of Science and just a Master's, and I don't want to say just, that sounds bad, and a Master's of Business Analytics? I can tell you the difference is a Master's of Science program is going to require some sort of new knowledge creation for the field in terms of a thesis or some sort of extended project, which often relies on working with your advisor, which often extends the time of your graduation, I might add. In a Master's of Business Analytics, we are going through the same curriculum. There is no doubt. I've scoured every program, in Ohio and the surrounding areas, the leaders in the nation. I know what the courses are. I know what they are looking like. You're going to get the same level, in the courses as you would in a Master's of Science. The difference is, if it's truly a data science, you're going to go into more programming and creation of methods. If it's a Master's of Science, you're going to have that culminating experience at the end that produces new knowledge. And I would say that's fine, but I would say actually if you're a working professional, I would consider this heavily. When you get your degree in 5 months, you can obtain that without having to do a thesis. Now, if you have a Master's of Science program, one of the hardest things to do, in all honesty, I've been in this environment for a while. I've had friends, I've had, acquaintances that writing a thesis takes a lot of self-discipline. And it's difficult, especially with the number of responsibilities that you might have around your house and your job. And I'll just be honest, I don't think there's anything that's too different from the classes, and I think the biggest difference is that self-dedication, time commitment of what it's going to take to produce that new knowledge for the field. And I say, why bother with it? Get your skills, get out of here in 5 semesters, take those skills back to your organization, and apply it.
Thank you. So that's one of the common questions, actually, that we get from a lot of those that are interested in the program. The next question is if the diploma states online. I can answer that question. Basically, the online Masters of Business Analytics program as well as the MBA, you're getting the same value as our brick and mortar program. So same structure, curriculum, nothing is different there except for the way the program is delivered on the online platform. And because of that and because of the accreditation and the value of the program, it does not state online on your diploma or your transcripts. The next question comes from our audience member here, and they would like to know, will there be a summative skills project at the end of the program? Dr. Young, would you answer that question, please?
Sure thing. So that capstone, the applied business experience along with the analytics practicum is that summative project at the end. In those 2 courses, which are taken at the same time, they go hand in hand, essentially you're put in a team. We have a simulation that we run, like a true simulation, computer-driven simulation of various environments, so textiles, for example, that you have to compete with other teams in your class, and you have to make decisions. Those decisions are not only based in marketing, operations, finance, accounting decisions, but those decisions are augmented by the data analysis that the analytics sort of representative has to perform. Now, whether the team takes that information that you provide them is really, it's not guaranteed, obviously. So you'll have to figure out ways to communicate the results and justify why your recommended course of action is the right way. So summative, yes. You can take the data that's generated by the simulation. You might want to run optimization. You might want to run some sort of predictive model. You might want to go to your descriptive skill sets and summarize the data visually. But they're all, I would say that's the summative experience right there. But I would also say in all of our courses, that we offer, we are a very application-driven program, and I can tell you and show you, pie charts that I create about like going into various business scenarios. And I can tell you my predictive course is more about marketing, it's more about operations, production, manufacturing, and a little less about financial applications and things like that. But I could tell you the opposite for my my optimization course, where it's more financially driven and things like that. So, I think in a way that those are summative as well, because you have to apply what you're learning to multiple environments.
Great, thank you. So I see a number of questions coming in regards to the semester base, how many classes are taken per semester, and if there's a summer semester. So as we stated, the program does have 3 semester starts, spring in January, summer in May, and fall in August. You do take courses throughout the summer program, which is why the program would be completed in as little as 20 months. Over 5 semesters. And so it does include a summer semester, and it's 1 course at a time for 7 weeks. However, you're registering for 2 courses every semester, which is the spring, summer, and fall, which is 15 weeks. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have time for one more question. I do see some more questions coming in. As I stated before, if your question is unanswered, please reach out to your enrollment advisor, and we'll definitely follow up with you. Our last question here, is this program eligible to those that do not have a quantitative or business-related background? If not, are there any prerequisites or what's recommended? I'll gear that question back toward you, Dr. Young.
Sure thing. So no. If you come from an engineering background, great. If you come from a business background, that's great. If you come from any background, that's great. So as I said earlier, our courses are set up in a way that are very application driven. Will you need some sort of deep understanding of accounting, finance, marketing to solve these problems? No. That's my true belief. I teach a lot of undergraduate classes, I'll be honest with you, and they don't have the deep understanding of finance, marketing, and operations, but they're able to solve these problems, or they're able to understand the high-level implication of why we're solving these problems, but they don't have the deep dive in supply chain or, other functional areas. So no, I don't believe you do. I believe truly in my heart that as you take these analytics courses, you'll actually understand these functional areas better because it's more centered around, again, the application. So if you want an understanding of finance marketing, I think you'll get that through just taking the courses and the way we've structured our curriculum. But you don't need it as a prereq. And there's no prereq that you need to take before being enrolled into the program as well.
Great, thank you. Thank you again, everyone, for your questions. I want to thank you for attending our online Masters in Business Analytics webinar. Dr. Young and Jill, it's always a pleasure. Thank you as well for taking the time out of your schedule today. Everyone, you are encouraged to use all the resources available to you on your screen to speak with myself or another enrollment advisor. Also, I encourage that you watch our other concentration and program webinar videos and begin the admissions process. We are now accepting applications for our next term of enrollment. Thank you again, and on behalf of the enrollment advisors for Ohio University's online Masters of Business Analytics program, we look forward to assisting you with your interests. Thank you, and go Bobcats!